lose. They lost to the Grizzlies. They have the same record as the Spurs. Things look a little busted. I'm Chuck Mockler. Carl Tart is here. Adam Miles and Will Updike, letting people come in on the live and all that good stuff. I'll go to our guest first. Carl, how are you feeling after that Clippers display?
All right, so today I was watching football.
Yeah,
at a place.
Smart choice.
I had to do some work, and I was watching football. But I am a proud subscriber of Clipper Vision, so I had that on my phone. And in attendance watching football was none other than Keyshawn Johnson, and he was there, and he was like, "What you looking at on your phone, man?" Very personable guy, and I told him what I was watching, and he proceeded to roast the shit out of me, of course, as one does when a Laker fan meets a Clipper fan, and he's an old school Laker fan too. He's an LA guy. Mm-hmm. But you know what, man? I had to lecture some people. I had to lecture some people today on the history and why we get treated the way we do. And I was talking to a person who was from Indiana who was like, "Oh, I'm a Miami Heat fan because I watched my team lose to Miami." And I decided to root for
them.
That's
messed up.
Yeah, I said that's terrible. That's terrible. So you can't beat them, so you joined them.
Is your friend Kevin Durant or?
He was not. It was not Kevin Durant, but it was another guy who was there, and we're talking, and they're talking shit about us, and I give them a whole rundown on why they feel the need to talk shit about us when their team is just as disappointing historically. And listen, man, I feel like this. This is my true, honest feelings. Of course, it doesn't feel good to lose to the worst team in the West. It doesn't feel good to lose. I mean, it was. I'm not making excuses, but it was a Sunday morning game. We've historically been bad in those.
Sure.
But I also am still.
You don't
very
think you
optimistic.
would change your bedtime? You don't think in year 5 you wouldn't change your bedtime or do whatever you need to do to be awake by 12:30?
I'll tell you like this. I'm 34 years old. Russ is a year older than me. James is the same age as me.
Happy birthday, Russ.
Happy birthday, Russ. That's coming from the robot from Rocky 5.
Happy birthday,
Russ. But I don't want to lose my Saturday nights before I have to.
That's
fair. What I mean?
Well, I get that.
So I'm gonna give them a little bit of grace. I don't want to lose my Saturday night because everybody's like, man, it's gonna happen to you where you're gonna be tired. You're gonna get tired on Saturday night. You'll get tired. You're not gonna want to go out. No, I'm gonna always want to go out, and I give the grace to my fellas. With that being said, man, it's my true, honest feelings. Nobody wants to lose as much as we've been losing because I know I'm gonna have to see the inevitable trolling Bleacher Report, which is a Laker organization.
Sure.
I'll have to see their post, where they go, Clippers lose 5 in a row. And then when the Lakers lose, they go, Lakers fall. They fall.
Clippers lose.
Did you see that Austin Reeves shot?
Though. Competitive losses for the Lakers.
Competitive losses.
Not for the Clippers. They've had one competitive loss. The rest have been essentially blowouts.
Today was competitive.
Today was. Against the worst team, but you would hope it at least be competitive, right?
I thought and some positive Chuck Mockler, I definitely feel like the comeback that happened.
Shout out to Norm. Norm, hey, that was fun.
Is it sustainable? Is that how they're going to win ball games? Have Norm get 12 points in the fourth quarter every time because they're down 11 heading into the fourth, and that's a real way to. I just don't know if that's a great process. Like I'm happy for Norm to get it going like that, and it was fun. It was exciting, but to be down 11 going into the fourth.
Oh yeah,
and it's just that's not long term how this team is going to get back to playing whatever brand of basketball, whatever their identity is going to be. It's not just, well, Norm's going to get hot here in the fourth quarter and have 12 points. Like that's not sustainable.
I think Ty Lue knows that. If there's one season where I've trusted him, it's been this one. And I'll tell you why. I've been watching these guys play these games. Now at the end of that late stretch today, Kawhi was shooting some bullshit.
He was pissed off too. He was pissed off today.
Mad.
Kawhi was upset today with some play.
Kawhi taking a midi fadeaway, some BS. What does that mean? That's Kawhi.
The shot selection has been garbage with Harden. Like, why did we add a point guard if there's going to be possessions with no passes?
Passes.
Like, what's the point?
No ball movement. We got all these people who can shoot, including people who are hot, like Norman Powell, like James Harden. You got all these people out here, and you're going to drive into double coverage, and like still got football brain on, but it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Like, and you're gonna drive into that and shoot a short like mid. I know you're midi. I know you're the king of the midi. You got the best midi in history. But Adam Oslin, what do you mean?
But what? I know you have the best midi in history, but don't take a midi. What does that mean?
Adam, so would you characterize the shot selection from the Clippers in the James Harden era as good?
We're talking about today's game, right?
We're talking about the whole thing, baby. We're unpacking right now. Yeah. We're healing.
I don't know if we're healing.
You got to get the leeches on you. You got to get the bad blood out, and you got to heal.
We got to sit in the ice bath, Adam. Get in the ice bath with me.
It's a big tub.
You guys got to cryo together. Come on. How do we heal?
The problem with this team is Kawhi taking a mid-range jumper in a clutch situation. I don't think you've been watching the last 5 games. I don't think you've been watching the last 4 games. That's not the issue. They actually had 26 assists on their 37 makes in this one. Like the ball movement, it obviously can be better. So how can it be better?
Adam.
What's the thing we've talked about all summer if they're going to bring in James Harden? What's the thing we talked about?
Adam, put the gun away. I never said that was the problem.
You said he was throwing up some BS.
He was, because
a mid-range shot from Kawhi is BS
in that situation, in that game situation where we have a chance to win, which we shouldn't be in a situation like this against that team.
So don't give it to Kawhi and a chance to win.
No, give it to Kawhi, but Kawhi still has to make a good play. Like this,
a mid-range shot from him is a good play. I'm sorry, I don't know where you're going
under a double team.
It really wasn't. He faded away. He had a great look. Kawhi makes that shot. We're talking about something totally different. Oh, that's Kawhi. Of course,
I feel like I mean, Adam, I definitely agree with you. I hear what you're saying on the mid-range shot. That is a shot that Kawhi is comfortable with. But I think Carl's larger point stands in that the ball has been pretty stagnant despite adding yet another point guard.
Well, that's a completely different issue than Kawhi's throwing up BS. Kawhi only took 16 shots
in that moment.
That's the issue.
I'm talking about one play. I'm talking about 2 plays, actually. I'm talking about 2 plays where Kawhi took 2, even though he's Kawhi, still ill-advised shots. Now, I hate to bring this up right now, but I'm going to because it always happens.
What's the other missed shot from him?
My favorite player in the league has always been LeBron James since Shaquille O'Neal. LeBron James always makes the right basketball play. That's what makes him. That's a big portion of who he is. Kawhi could have passed the ball to somebody in that moment. I understand that we do want Kawhi taking that shot most of the time, but when he is double teamed and he is forcing it, because those were called forced shots. Those were forced. They were not clear open looks.
Chuck, can you play the shot in here? You're saying the layup he took was the other bad shot? He shouldn't take a layup?
The fade away from the dotted.
But you said 2. You said 2 shots now. So the other was a layup.
Layup was a little tough as well.
Hold on real quick. I'm looking at the shot chart just of Kawhi in the 4th. 0 for 3. This is just the X's and O's. There was a shot from the right low block, the fadeaway that I believe Carl's talking about from right underneath the nail, and then one.
I know the shot Carl's talking
about, where he shoots like 52%. Can we talk about the things that are problems instead of Kawhi Leonard taking a clutch shot, the one that he hits a lot?
Adam, It seems like you got a lot on your chest.
Upset about it?
I just can't believe that's what we're talking about right now.
Go off.
There are actual issues.
All right.
Like,
pull the gun back out. I got my hands up.
Pull the gun out.
Pull the gun out,
Are we going to get to the elephant in the room? The starting backcourt?
We're telling you to talk. Yeah.
Coach Lou said before the game, he's looking for ways to separate those 2 as much as possible. But they're also in the starting backcourt. And they also got down 0-7 in both halves, and Coach Lou came out and said we have to start halves better. It just seems like an obvious issue going on right now, which is 2 guys that are dependent on having the basketball to start off ball games, and it's clashing playing styles, and it's not working. Whereas Coach Lue made a brilliant move in that second quarter with bringing in Big Zoo instead of PJ Tucker, and then have them having going extra small like they did against Dallas, where there was that 34-5 run. So this game, he pairs Ivica Zubac with Paul George, with Russ, with Norm Powell, with Terrence Mann. That worked. Mm-hmm. That was progress. That's a good thing to see. That was great. They went on a quick 8-0 run. I just don't know if Russ on the floor next to James Harden, and it seems like the team knows because Coach Lue said he's trying to separate them, should be starting.
So that's what's so funny. Lucas Hahn was posting some usage stats for Harden, and the Clippers, like, it's not like they're not using him well. They're not using him. He has his lowest usage rate of 16.8% since his second year in the league. And his second lowest is 19.5%. So, like, it's not even like he's getting lost in this starting lineup. He's being too differential. Like we saw when the team was in this game, when it was like, oh, a big lineup with a couple shooters in there. Like then it was okay. Harden out there with Norm, when it was Harden, Norm, Kawhi, PG, Zoo. Not saying that's a starting lineup, but some people are maybe talking about it. The spacing was there. Letting Harden away from Russ. Maybe it's bench Harden, maybe it's bench Russ. I think it works either way, if that makes sense. But I think
bench
Russ is
Harden?
probably the one. To make that shit work.
Is that
no,
where we're
I'm
at
saying
after 4 games?
Maybe
it's a better solution than playing both of them in the starting backcourt.
That's what
I don't think it's the solution, but it's better. Bringing in James Harden and trying to make him Klay Thompson on catch and shoots doesn't make sense to me. Bringing in James Harden, and they just talked about it yesterday. Coach Lue said pregame today, they're going to play through Harden. They just talked about it at practice. He let everybody know this. And that is the right move, not because he's your best player. That's Kawhi. That's Paul George, because he's your best playmaker. You have to play through that guy. If you want what happened with the Brooklyn Nets to happen here with the Clippers, James Harden's got to have the ball in his hands and then give it up to Kyrie and KD, in this case, Kawhi and Paul George. That's it. That's the idea of bringing him in, and it hasn't worked at all yet because the ball has not been in his hands nearly enough. And I see people saying like James Harden's the problem. It's like, no, using James Harden like this is the problem.
Yeah, I agree with you. Chuck Sampson brought up a great comment in
Chunk Sampson.
Chunk. Sorry, did I say Chuck? My bad. But he talked about Ty Lue talking about Harden playing too passive because he's on the floor with Russ and doesn't want to step on his toes. He's advocating for no way Russ should start. I think that this 2-guard situation is leading to passivity from everyone. It's from Paul George. We heard him talking about how he's going to be a glue guy or whatever. I really think it is that same thing. And the Heat had the same problem at the beginning of their run. Not going to compare this version of the Clippers with where they're at to that Heatles team, but everybody was being a little bit too passive. Everybody doesn't want to rock the boat or whatever. But I think that, yeah, then you have to remove one of the ball dominant presences when everybody is on the floor, or I don't know. The hard thing is the Clippers they don't have a lot of time. If they had had a full training camp, and if this trade was made in the off season, when we first heard about it, I think things would be a little different. But they've just dropped 5 straight, and this is the easy part of their schedule. They just don't have a lot of leeway to figure things out. So I don't know why they're not trying to make moves immediately.
They traded rebounding and defense for more offense, and the more offense hasn't showed up yet. They're barely scoring 100 points.
Very true, my brother. Very true. And that's the point that I wanted to get to.
Kill it.
He's right next to the camera. This is going to be, let's go for it.
Let me tell you something. Adam, pull out the gun.
Adam, pull the gun out.
Put a gun out. In my head right now.
I got on a vest for this one. And let me tell y'all something. Data Man, Ghost, everybody who's saying it. That man that y'all have been caping for the past 7 seasons, who I've been saying, if you remember on the old pod, I've been saying it, and I got death threats from Clipper Nation. I got death threats.
Same vest you were wearing back then, you're wearing right now.
Same vest I'm wearing right now. Zoo got to go.
But he's not the problem right now.
Oh God, Carl.
He's got to be better. I'm not going to pretend like you're not wrong. He's got to be better.
A little closer.
Listen. Still got to go.
For what? Okay, wait. Let's entertain it. Wait. Let's entertain it. What's the move? Tell me the move.
Thank you, Brian Sanchez.
What's the move?
We gotta get.
He's been not very good. But he hasn't been trash. He's been not very good. What's the move? We're trading Zoo for what?
Jonas Valanciunas.
That's not even possible, dog.
I don't know what's possible, man. I don't know what's possible, but we gotta do something. Ghost thinks Zoo for Drummond. Drummond can shoot the three. I don't like that fully.
What did you?
I don't like that fully, but
Andre Drummond.
We need a stretch. Drummond.
Andre Drummond.
Yeah, this man is cooking himself on live.
He cannot shoot the three.
I don't want Nerlens Noel. I want something else.
Wait.
Y'all gotta stop with the Zoo shit.
You don't want Nerlens?
Drummond as a backup is fine. I don't like Drummond, but I feel like we need one other big body. Charles, what are your thoughts on this?
We need another big body. We can't sign Daniel Tice, who's 6'8". I don't think that makes any sense. Andre Drummond should not be on this team. He can't shoot the three. The rebounding, sure, that'd be good. But
he can shoot a three better than Zubac.
He also has
that's not the point. If we
rebound numbers.
Hold on. If Andre Drummond came to this team and started shooting threes,
I wouldn't like it. Listen, here, let me.
What are we talking about here?
I'm finna tell you what I'm talking about. Okay, fix your faces. And to this guy, drunk in public service, shut up.
I don't even know who this guy is.
I don't like the whole Hoopers not basketball players bullshit. That's dog whistle bullshit.
That guy's right. Let him be.
Okay, wait. I agree with the dog whistles. You're right on that. Zoo's been bad this year. I'm not, but I just
don't have a bad this year. I don't think that's fair. He's been inconsistent.
He's inconsistent.
Bro, y'all gonna cape for this man forever.
He's been it for saying. I just said he's been bad.
Here's the difference, Carl. When he plays bad, we say he's playing bad. When he plays good, we say he's playing good, and you never give him credit when he's playing good, which is the majority of the time.
Let's focus on the real issues. How can the team be better? This is what's the issue with the Clippers. It's tearing everyone apart. They've been so bad.
Yeah.
This is the issue right now. We can't even talk amongst friends.
Who's Trent?
Who's friends?
That's drunken Trent.
Okay. Where are you at, Carl? Are we benching Russ? To bring in Terrence or to bring in Norm? What's your move forward? I'm not lost on Norm is starting. I know it might be crazy, but I'm thinking about it.
Alan also wants to know, is this Carl, I'm curious your thoughts. Is this stubbornness from Ty Lue, or is it one of these two guys? They don't want to make the move to the bench, and it's like a diplomatic thing where they don't want to rock the locker room.
Oh, we're 5 games in. I think we're 5 games in. Ty wants to give it 10. He likes a 10-game sample size. I agree with that. It ain't working after 5. I do think there's going to be a big change made before our next game, which is against the Nuggets, which I pray that they don't fucking stomp a mud hole in our asses.
We're going to talk about that in a sec, but
do we lose by 30?
Okay, let me ask you guys this. Is it give it more time? They need more time because it's only been 4 games and that's the issue? Or it's fundamentally flawed and you can give it as much time as you want. The ceiling isn't going to be there for winning a championship playing this way, regardless if they have some stretch where they win 5 of their next 7 or something.
Which I do think they will. I told people at the bar today they're going to go 5-0 in the next 5.
You told Keyshawn Johnson that.
I told Keyshawn Johnson that.
I love that.
I said,
they play Denver next, right?
Yeah, and I think we can stun them.
Well, that would be like 5 wins if they could somehow beat Denver in their time of need against a team they never beat.
I agree with him. He says, I like Zoo. I'm only trading him for a Clint Capella, Jared Allen type big.
I mean, sure.
I don't think you're.
I just don't think it's possible. Yeah, I just don't think.
Do y'all know? Because I don't. I will.
Hey, go watch what happened to Jared Allen against the Knicks in the first round before you say that. Maybe
you
go
asking
check
for
that
contract
out.
stuff?
Huh?
You said, Carl, you asking for contract stuff?
Contract stuff and just who's available. Who
Zoo makes $11 million a year.
Very favorable, team friendly, if you will.
Exactly. It's a very team-friendly contract, which is where we get into this log jam. People were talking about this rotation now. People were talking about maybe trading Norm at some point, but now Bones is out of the rotation for 8 more games, while Ty can look at this current iteration of what we saw in this game with Tucker and Musa. And
we haven't heard from Adam. I'm curious your thoughts on this. As the man who once said the Clippers' ceiling is tied to Bones Highland,
which wasn't wrong at the time.
Where are we at? Where are we at with this development that Bones is possibly, it seems like, not a part of the rotation moving forward, according to Ty Lue?
Well, if you were on the last show, I did point out that point that I made about Bones could become completely irrelevant, and it looks like it is now because he's out of the rotation. And I understand why you can't keep going small with 3 or 4 guards out there. It's the right move, but it's also unfortunate for Bones in his development. And he and Norman Powell are just too similar. Their strengths and their weaknesses line up next to one another.
I think Bones is a better facilitator than Norm. I don't think that's fair.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I think
Norm
he might be.
Norm does not look to pass to anybody. You don't even need to defend anybody else on the floor if Bones has, or if Norm has the ball in his hands. He's not feeding somebody else.
I completely agree. I think Bones and his ceiling, which he's most definitely tied to, his individual ceiling, I think is pretty high. I think is tantalizingly high. And that's why I got excited and even said at one point, maybe they don't need to bring in James or somebody else, because if Bones makes that big leap this season, that might be enough right there. Obviously, it's a new situation now, and it's disappointing that he's going to be totally out of the rotation. We'll see. Maybe Coach Lue mixes things up at some point here. I don't know.
Here, you guys want a little treat because things been getting a little heated.
What's the treat? I guess.
Look what I picked up here.
Hey, okay,
Fire. Nice.
Fire.
All right, a nice vintage shark's tooth.
I can't believe you're willing to donate that to one of our live listeners right now. I can't believe that's the giveaway on this show now.
My ass.
So our friend LOL WTF Eric, who designed everything that you see if you're watching this on the live stream, is wondering if the team is actively and deliberately trying to drive him into madness. I just want to float this theory out there. I was talking about this with Charles during the game. Is this a reverse major league in which the Clippers are trying to lose every game and somehow not end up in the Intuit Dome, but end up moved somewhere else? Have you thought about this? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I don't think that's what's happening for the record.
Reverse major league. It's a reverse major league.
But they want to stay.
Why would he do that? I don't understand why he would do that. I want to believe it. I want to believe something. I want something to hold on to. Like Maroon 5 said, give me something to believe in, because I don't believe in you anymore.
That's a perfect way to, because I'm not mad at that. That's a great. It's the point I agree with the most so far on this episode is the Maroon 5 lyric. It's tough right now. I think they can turn it around, but it's tough.
Can they turn it around without making a change to the starting 5?
As of 5:27 p.m. on November 12th?
They absolutely cannot. Is this even a question? They cannot turn it around. They cannot continue to run the same experiment and expect a different result.
Are we also? I liked what Will you put Fashizzle Bedizzles thing back on there? Are we gonna wait it out for Mason and not sign a big?
I think I would be, if conversations haven't already been happening behind the scenes, it's malpractice. It's you know what I mean? I feel like they're willing to throw the season away at that point if there's not already conversation. I understand that it hasn't resulted or netted a deal yet, but you need someone, preferably a traditional big and also a vet, and who's a vet, I think, to back this up. And understanding that they probably won't be a heavy rotation piece, but you need a stopgap. You need something. Adam, you're making a face. You disagree with me.
No. I completely agree. I was just going to throw this out there. Just had a nice little brain hatch. As they talked about yesterday, playing through James Harden, Is it just too difficult to say that even in front of the whole team and make that adjustment the very next day after the style of play that they got ready to get into this season with playing faster with Russ, and then all of a sudden to switch things up and play slower and play through James Harden? Is it just impossible to make that 180? Even though they know the message is there, even though all the guys, that's kind of giving you some idea of a pecking order. We're playing through Harden, but it didn't result in that today. And it's just going to take more time.
Because Ty talked about it in the postgame. He talked about how the team needed to play faster in today's postgame. And it's like, it's
Harden, but like Harden is just not the guy for that.
No, right, Russ is, and that's the problem because I want Harden to start.
Conflicting styles by your two playmakers.
Yes, 100%. Russ is doing what Ty wants, which is play faster. And it's not also like they weren't exactly playing lightning fast before Harden came here. We talked about that a little bit too, of like, all right, let's maybe see him pick up the pace a little bit more. But Carl, Adam, y'all are right. It's like, I want James to start, but he's not going to play the basketball that we've been told that's going to be happening all offseason. Carl, go ahead. Yeah, like, I don't know. It's difficult.
Miles Turner.
I don't think it's possible.
Is anything possible?
We no longer have the assets to make it happen. We would have to send too much out in contracts.
Yeah,
like,
we don't.
Aren't the Pacers destroying right now? They're like phenomenal.
How is getting rid of Ivica Zubac changing the pace, changing the problem in the backcourt? This is
and man for Turner.
These are not the droids you're looking for. That's not the issue here,
bro. I just want Zugon just to troll you.
All right, I respect the pettiness. Look, if there's one thing I respect, it's pettiness. I can't pretend that that's
in
not
regards
a
to
good
the
bit.
in regards to the pace. LA said Harden looks out of shape. To be honest, to be fair, right? We because I do feel like we are losing the context of there was never a training camp. He didn't participate in any training camp. He had not played a game. And I'm willing to cede that, especially for the people who are the Harden haters. Charles, just go ahead and cut me off.
I'm raising my hand.
Well, but all I was gonna say is like I do think that changes the math of how many games until you figure something out, of course. But I still think it's apparent enough that the starting lineup isn't working. Go to your point.
We were sold that he had some secluded training camp.
I don't doubt that he was training. It's just different.
I know,
those are two different things.
I know it's different, but we're already at the physical. Like, it's already gone so bad that we're already at this point. It's not that I don't think he was working out in Colorado. And I very much believe he was. But we're already at this point of like, well, game speed's a little different. And he's like, yeah, I'm still working.
It is, though.
Too. I know, but because it's gone so poorly, because it's gone so poorly, I feel not as sympathetic to that, I guess, because it's looked so shitty.
But we've all kind of acknowledged that Harden is not specifically the problem.
I know,
true
but the lineup is. I mean, that's true, but the lineups are like that. I agree that the lineups are the problem.
Harden is not the problem. Russ is not the problem. The lineups are the problem. Rebounding and defense is a problem.
Yes.
Zubac is a problem because he is very inconsistent. He is a problem.
Had us in the first half.
The rebounding is terrible.
Talk about y'all have to be honest with that.
We will. What are we going to do?
I know we can't do anything. But
let's control what we can control then. If we can't do anything about that. Well, let's talk about things that are within the realm of being changed. And I understand both your guys' points there. It's frustrating on one end, but it is baked in that he wasn't going to be completely up to speed because we all know there's no way to simulate in-game.
And we talked about this. We said if the Clippers want to do this, why would you not do it in the offseason?
Because of Daryl Morey. It's entirely Daryl Morey's fault.
But they still got, I mean, like, it was still the same deal that we thought it was going to be. It was 2 firsts and filler. Like, there was never any conversation beyond that.
To me, though, the issue still isn't Harden and whether or not he's in perfect game shape. Like, they aren't maximizing the place he is at right now. And he is good enough when you watch that first quarter against Dallas where he and Kawhi Leonard are playing a 2-man game and absolutely cooking. And it's like, oh, we got something here. Clippers are up by 12, and those two are playing beautifully off one another. Outside of that, there hasn't been much to take away that's been positive. But the point there was Harden had the ball in his hands and he and Kawhi were in control. I want to see Harden next to Kawhi and Paul George with Ivica Zubac and Terrence Mann and see what that looks like for a good section of time. But if they're going to cater to egos and guys being more concerned about starting, and I don't know who that is, but I'm guessing, look, Harden and Russell Westbrook both want to start.
Totally.
Somebody's going to have their heart broken. Right?
And Wang said split up the 4 stars, 2 to start, 2 off the bench, like the Lou Montrez second unit to extend the lead. I feel like the issue has been we've seen some really good chemistry with Kawhi, with Harden. It has not looked the same with Russ and PG. And
the second quarter
limited
today.
It did today.
Yeah,
it did.
Because they had
that
real
second
bigs around
quarter
them.
was beautiful. They're down 13. They start off the second with Zoo, Mann, Powell, Russ, and PG, and they go on an 8-0 run. And Paul George is the focal point and being aggressive. That worked. That lineup better be here to stay because that was really smart. That was a perfect adjustment from what we saw in the second quarter Friday night.
Have y'all talked about that yet? Daniel says, don't worry, guys. World Cup winner Daniel Tice will save us. Is Daniel Tice a possibility? Have y'all had conversations about this? Because I've heard his name pop up.
We talked about it. Adam and I talked about it a little bit. I don't know what we trade for Daniel Tice. He makes like $9 million a year or something. And I just think he's 6'8". Mason Plumlee's a real 7-footer.
Yeah.
I think we should have this team used to playing with the size and personnel that they're going to be playing when Mason comes back, if he comes back. But we also need wins. I'm not the biggest Tice fan. I don't hate the guy. I just think we should get someone quite literally taller who's going to play maybe a more traditional center role.
Again, they still have pieces that are there now that can be better optimized. And I also give Coach Lue credit for playing Musa. He said he was going to play bigger. And he played a young guy in his second season, and I thought Musa actually played really well. And actually, even against Dallas Friday night, and I know the game was over, but he had multiple possessions against Luka Doncic where I was like, damn, that's good defense. Doesn't matter. But still, it was good defense. Musa has impressed more than I thought he would with the minutes he's got in the last 2 days or last 2 games. And he goes out, he gets hit in the face in the second half, unfortunately.
By James Harden, I think.
Yeah, but so it's not like Coach Lue hasn't made any adjustments already within these 4 games. He has. That second unit to start the second quarter today, Musa being out there, him saying he can't keep playing small, so no bones with Norman Powell. Stuff is happening. I thought there was low-key progress today. The problem is the main issue that I think is going on with why their offense looks bogged down is pecking order and 2 playmakers starting next to one another that just throws things off.
And what about the defense and rebounding, which has looked much worse? Let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, obviously, sending out 3 wings and getting in return PJ Tucker, I feel like is an issue. That's an issue. Charles, where are you at?
The Tucker thing is hard, right? Because Marcus Morris did not rebound the ball, and PJ Tucker does his damnedest to try and rebound the ball. He took 2 shots today, which is incredible, because he usually doesn't take shots. He made a 3, which is great. But there's still... He can't be out there with another non-plus shooter. He just can't. Like, if we have PJ out there with a guy who's not a real threat to shoot the ball, then it's some tough defense. We watched today when, to open this game, the Grizzlies started Jaren Jackson Jr. defending Russ and basically just sagging off him and playing free safety in the paint, which is like, sure, with one guy on the court who that's going to happen, that's fine. We got PG and Kawhi and all the stuff that should work. But with Tucker out there, he can't be out there with Zoo because then the defense is just like, yeah, okay, well, come into the paint. Let's try it. Like, you have 2 guys who aren't going to stretch the floor at all. So I don't think.
No. We lost you.
Is that me?
No, I'm back. I don't think he's been put in the best position, but the Mason Plumlee injury is the worst thing to happen to PJ Tucker because it really sucks because he's put in a position that on this team with learning all the new stuff, it's tough right now. He shouldn't have to playing this much. He didn't even really play like a bunch in this game. He played 13 minutes. But he was +4, something to it. But it's just a little tough. It sucks that we have to figure out how to use him so much, I guess, which is not his fault.
This person says first unit, Russ, PG, Kawhi, Coffee, and Zoo.
I mean, Amir should maybe get some run.
I would like that.
Why not?
But to your point of spacing, and you can't have PJ Tucker out there with another non-shooter. Well, Coach Lou said post-game, spacing, it sounded like he was specifically talking about the starting unit, has been the problem. That's why they're only scoring 100 points per game. And you have Russ out there with a non-shooter with Ivica Zubats.
Yeah.
Like, they know spacing is a problem, but they're keeping 2 non-shooters in the starting lineup. If Mann is there instead of Russ, or if Norm Powell is there instead of Russ, I think it might look differently. I don't know. I'd be interested to see it, but I don't know if they're interested in making that move right now. It sounds like Russ does bring energy and a locked-in focus to start games typically, but I don't
offensively
know if
that's his best asset? Question mark.
Well, I don't know if that can overcome the bad fit though right now with him and James Harden, because like I said, 7-0 runs to start both halves by the Memphis Grizzlies. Like, you're just putting yourself in a hole. If Jaren Jackson Jr. is just sagging off of Russell Westbrook and it's putting another defender in space against Kawhi, Paul George, and James Harden, that doesn't work. That's not optimizing lineups.
Real quick, we got to put in a quick ad break because we are going to make this a podcast. Ads coming up, and then we're going to maybe talk the Nuggets. I think we're going to do an Updike fun check. Ads coming up in 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back into Clips and Dip. We are live. If you're not catching those, you can catch those over on Twitter. That's @ClippersPod. You can catch those over on YouTube. That's @ClippersPodcast. We usually tell you day of, give you a little time so you know what's going on. Thank you so much to everybody who is tuning in live. But right now, we've talked about the losing streak with James Harden. We're going to look ahead a little bit to what the Clippers can expect versus the Nuggets. Where do we even start with this? I mean, I think that Mavs game, the Mavs have been very, very good to start. So it's understandable that the Clippers, who have not been as good to start, would take a beating. Maybe not to that extent.
Take a beating.
But where are you at? Where are you at? Who
Carl.
Should
Carl should go first.
Carl,
he says they're winning 5 in a row.
What do you think is going to happen? What do you want to see when the Clippers take on the Nuggets?
I want to see some big changes that Ty Lue, I do feel like, is putting in place right now. If I believe in him as a coach and believe in who he is, I think he's putting in some big changes right now. I also think that we will win this game. I don't believe – I noticed that we're still trying to run the same type of strategy against Luka and what's the other guy's name? Jokic, where we let them score all the points and try to stop everybody else, make sure we stop everybody else. I don't think that works anymore because we lost a lot of our defense, and our middle is soft like a Twinkie. And so we whipped cream in the middle, Adam. And yet, Adam, put the gun away.
Adam.
It's back in the holster. You finish.
I think we're going to win this game, though. I think this will be the game that we make a change where people will think about it. I think, think about it in the way of oh shit, they did it. I can't believe it.
They got something here. There's
somebody's going to come off the bench, and I think offensively we match up pretty well. Defensively it's pretty tough, but if these guys can get into a goddamn rhythm, then we can go on a run. I don't think this is going to be as bad as technically, I know it sounds crazy. Can't beat the Grizz, but can beat the Nuggets? Yeah, because the Nuggets have lost to some bad teams. 2 of them.
I was going to say, I don't know.
I mean, they've been down. I mean, a significant portion, they've been down a significant piece of their rotation.
Yeah. And Jokic has been.
We got to take that into account, and we have to take advantage of it.
Guys, can I just point out that, I don't think the defense is anything to write home about, but in 3 of these 4 games with James Harden, 111 points they've given up, 100 points they've given up, 105 points they've given up. Like, I'm not saying the defense is perfect, but the offense is the real issue here going on, which I don't think any of us would have expected when they brought in James. We were all talking about, hey, offense, roll the ball out there. They'll have 120 points.
Right.
Defensively is where we have concerns. It's actually, for the most part, been the other way around, which is wild. And it's a little more glaring and alarming.
This reminds me of when, I can't remember what, I think it was maybe 2 seasons ago when everyone was healthier-ish, and we were like, oh, they're gonna start a little slow, defensively. It's gonna be fun. It was kind of the same thing. Like, this taps into the biggest issue with the Clippers is we don't know what this team is good at. We know what they should be good at.
Yeah,
for sure. We don't, and it keeps changing. So we keep having to adjust what we think they should be good at. And when they figure it out, I think it's going to be great. I hope it's great for those 17 games in March. But right now, like, oh, they're good at defense. That's surprising, but we'll take it. Oh, and the offense is bad. Like, we don't know where their hat is hung, really, with this team yet. It has only been a handful of games with Harden, but it's trial by fire against this Nuggets team. I very much hope Carl is right.
I got to give Will a ton of credit for, even though I'm not saying I agree with it, but the epic rant he went on after the Clippers lost against Dallas on Friday night. And all I could say afterwards was, they've had a lot of setbacks and restarts. And that's what it continues to be. I had a caller tonight who's like, well, just move James Harden to the bench for now. And then when he gets up to speed, we'll put him back into the starting lineup. And it's like, so you're going to adjust twice then.
Yeah.
You're going to see how he looks with the bench unit and then eventually put him back with the starters and they readjust to having him. But it continues. Will, you want to take it from here? You had the epic rant, and I think you pointed out something that there's truth to it.
I mean,
it's not for me.
Look, we've been doing this. This is the 5th year that we're doing this. I feel like, there's always excuses. There's always a reason why this team hasn't figured out who they are and what they are. In the first year, we didn't have Paul George to start. Still didn't know who we were, and the bubble fell apart in what was probably their best run, their best chance at a title. Understand it, whatever. Bubble, sure. Next year, injury, whatever, sure. But we still went through periods, including a shellacking. And it was like, what is this team? Who are they? Sure. They're the team that gets injured in the postseason. Weren't going to have Kawhi the next season. It's like, who is this team? Okay, they're scrappy guys who will come up and get the win. That was actually one of the more enjoyable seasons to watch as a Clippers fan in this 2-1-3 era. Last year, it was like, okay, we're back. This bench is fortified. We know what it is. Somehow they don't have the will to win games. And now I honestly feel like this team doesn't hate losing enough. I just don't get how you're at this level, how you make $45 million a year. You've made it to literally the highest level of your craft. There is no higher level. There's nothing further you could do. And it doesn't it just feels like it doesn't hurt you to lose, or it doesn't hurt you enough. You're just perfectly willing to lose games. Ooh. It's bullshit. It's bullshit, man. I have a shitty job. Kawhi's 9 to 5 like most people do. And no, I don't want to suck at my job. I don't want to be a piece of shit at my job. And I just don't get why that doesn't apply to other to people at a job that's pretty fun.
I don't know if it would be fun. It seems like a nightmare being Paul George and Kawhi right now.
Carl, tell me right now, if you could wake up tomorrow and you were a professional basketball player, that's too hard of a job?
If you're those two guys with an insertable amount of pressure on them,
so you turn that down.
If I'm JaVale McGee, sign me up.
Yeah,
I'm not built to be Kawhi or Paul George.
If I'm Nikola Jokic, sign me the fuck up.
The best guy in the league, yeah.
I don't mind the losses when they're against a very good opponent or you're playing the right way.
The Lakers loss was fine.
You just come up short. Perfect example. And they're on a back-to-back like that. We all were just like, man, that was an entertaining game. That was a crazy game. That was one of the best battles for Los Angeles.
I'm not even
when they lost
guy.
to the Nets with Harden, and it was like, damn, they played great, but the Nets were a shot better than them, and they got KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. What I don't like is the bad process stuff where, early in the third quarter tonight, Russ has taken 3 shots in the first 2 minutes, and Kawhi, Paul George, and Harden have combined to take 2. And I just stuff like that, because even if it works, even if Russ hits all those shots, it's not sustainable. It's not how you're going to win a championship playing that way. Just like Norm having to have 12 points, 12 of his 20 in the fourth. That's all great. And if they had pulled off the win, it's like, okay, wasn't always great process, but they got the W. We move forward. That would have been cool too. But I'm looking for things that are sustainable at a championship elite level that makes them a contender. And that's about Kawhi and Paul George and getting easier shots next to James Harden now and making the game easier for them instead of them getting off to this great start the first 5 games where they look unbelievable. And now they've regressed next to James Harden. We thought, if anything, maybe it could have been the other way around if you had told me coming into the season how things were going to lay out schedule-wise. And when you bring up James Harden, it's just alarming that the offense has been this difficult to get unlocked.
Well, it's hard too, because this they want to speed things up. They want to run. In 2020 to 2021, this was the best half-court offense. And I think that's great, and that is a playoff-ready offense. But at the same time, if you're relying on just the efficiency of Kawhi and Paul George, and that's like what's really driving that with some occasional ball movement and looks to other guys, I just don't think that's sustainable.
And I don't even mind. I don't blame Russ for putting up those shots to start the third quarter. It's like, if everyone else is going to be apprehensive and tiptoe around, I know Russ isn't going to operate like that.
Yeah.
He's going to try to take things into
You're always
his own
going
hand.
at Russ.
Well, I would like Kawhi to just say 2019 Eastern Conference Finals style, when they couldn't do anything against Giannis, they're down 0-2. He's playing for Toronto. What's going to change? Oh, I'm going to guard Giannis. That's what's going to change. I wouldn't mind Kawhi to go playoff Kawhi right now and say, get me the damn ball. I guess that's more Keyshawn. So,
I mean,
Carl?
Otter King said, so far it seems like the starters don't know how to get shots for anyone but Russ, which is exactly what the other teams want. I don't agree with this wholeheartedly, but I will say they have been creating some shots for Russ that are outside of what his shot profile should be.
Yeah, they're trying to keep him confident. And that's where you get tough, because he starts shooting up that bullshit.
I mean, so I talked about that usage stat that Lucas Hahn put up, and how, like, Harden's usage is the lowest it's been since he's been in the league, except for his second year. Russ's usage has gone up, and Kawhi and PG's has gone down since the Harden trade. For anyone who's saying, like, oh, well, you're always going at Russ. Again, not a Russ issue, just how other teams are defending this lineup right now. If you were to play, I don't care how much you love Russell Westbrook, if you were to play Russ, Kawhi, PG, Harden, and Zoo, you want Russ taking the most shots from the furthest distance out. It's very simple if you're the other team.
Yeah.
And that's what teams are doing right now. And this isn't, I also think we're talking about, like, maybe we should bench Russ or something. Adam, you've brought this up too. We did the live stream. Everyone's talked about sacrifice. And if we're all in this shit together, coming off the bench for a team that wins the championship as a guy who's on, whatever, a hometown discount, whatever people were talking about, like, let's get it. Let's do it. Like, Marcus Morris, of all people, Marcus Morris at one point in his Clippers tenure, people might forget this.
When he was still good, actually.
When he was still good, reportedly said Batum should keep starting because he's been better while I'm out. We don't know if that's totally true. The fact that it was put out there is something, but, like, if push, I hope push doesn't come to shove, because Russ off the bench would be phenomenal. If you love Russ, you should maybe want this to happen, because he would shine off this bench with this Clippers team and not be a part of what's happening right now with the starting five. Like,
I do like the pace he pushes, though. So
yeah,
but I think the bench is maybe, again, I guess I'm thinking of the bench fully healthy, but, like, it is, the pace thing is a very good point, because I could be convinced either way to put James or Russ on the bench. Weirdly. That's how broken things have been.
We talked about this earlier, Chuck, and we agreed on it. Wanting James to start. In theory, I do. But what we've learned with this team, considering what we've lost with our bench, with the old guys, like, Russ continuing to start and keeping that pace up, and we getting off to a quick offensive start and building a lead, and then James coming in and running that second unit and just going nuts, or or staying on the court with PG and Kawhi.
Yeah.
Like that would be kind of crazy. Like I feel like that would really get us out to quick leads, which we always need. Like that's something I don't like to work in historics when it comes to professional sports, really. But damn, we always start off losing for the past few years and then like have to come back.
Right.
Can I answer this plus minus question we're getting from Diallo 224?
We got a Russ fan in the chat.
I don't know why we're giving them press.
I'm a Russ fan too, by the way.
Well, we're not anti-Russ. It's easy to no, we're not. We're saying, how do you configure this team best to win a championship? Not just to win 8 out of 10 in the regular season. We're looking big picture because that is the ultimate goal, and that's why you bring in James Harden. But it's as simple as this, Diallo. He was on the floor when PG cooked to start the second quarter. He was on the floor when Norman Powell had 12 points in the fourth quarter and was a flamethrower. Plus minus is not a perfect measurement. But it can be very much dependent on who's playing well next to you or who's playing well against you or vice versa.
And he wasn't with James Harden, which plays to our point. This is what we were just talking about, Diallo. You should want this split to happen. He played great. That's what's so crazy, which is a bigger conversation about how people view themselves as fans of certain teams or something like that. But I thought LA on the chat brings up a good point about, he said, Russ gives effort defensively and rebounds, which is why I like starting him instead of Harden. That's also a good point. If the Clippers are going to go off this rhetoric we heard all season of run more, he maybe should be off the bench, but there's still
I keep going back to this same thing. I'm so sorry. We're talking about a guy who is the reigning assist leader, a guy who had a hand in winning Embiid an MVP. It's asinine to think that Harden as a point guard isn't part of the reason that he won an MVP. Right. I don't know why you put that guy on the bench. I'm so sorry. I love that they want to play with a faster pace. I love that they try to reinvent the wheel all the time. Very unsuccessfully, might I add. But maybe just use a player what they're good at. And I hate these post-game pressers where the coach is like, oh, we need to let X be more like X. And it's like, yeah, maybe the player should play the way that they've been the best. And that makes the most sense.
And I can understand if you want to play fast, and the Clippers were 3-1 and they looked dominant against the Spurs and against the Portland Trailblazers and Orlando Magic. And if you look at those plus minuses with the 3 guard or with Russ next to 2-on-3, it looks great. I brought them up myself. But guys, we're talking about what's going to win a championship. Look what happened against the Utah Jazz. Look what happened against the Lakers late in the fourth. Russ had 3 turnovers. Like, I love the pace too, but you got to know when to hold him and fold him with Russell Westbrook, which is why Coach Lue took him out with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. James comes in. It's going to be at a slower pace. It's going to be more methodical out there. Knocked down a big 3-pointer to tie the ball game, by the way, which gets overlooked now.
And that play also benefits Kawhi.
And what's the most important thing? Getting the best out of Kawhi and Paul George. And I think in a playoff setting, James Harden's just the better player for that. And he's a better player at this point than Russell Westbrook. Like, he is. So I would say start him. However, if they bring him off the bench, it's still going to be a lot better than it is now because you're still separating him and Russ.
Do we think
the guy with, and it sucks, but like part of being a coach is managing personalities in the locker room. And the guy who feels like he's been mismanaged by almost every team that he's been on, which is not true, but that's the feeling. I don't know why you try to move that guy to the bench when he's the guy that you need to lift the ceiling of this team. Period.
That's also a good point.
The second highest usage rating in the league last season. He's always had the highest usage rating over the past 10 years. And now you want him to play off ball. And we didn't bring this up on the last YouTube because I hadn't listened to all the post-game stuff, but I don't think we did. James Harden straight up said, it's weird to me, quote unquote, on catch and shoot threes. He may have shot 41% on them last season on 1.8 takes per game on catch and shoot threes.
And he needs to shoot more than that, though. To be fair, he needs to shoot.
He does, but it's not what he's most comfortable with. And just acting like, and I'm guilty of this too. Well, just lean into that more, James. Just do more of that. he went on to talk about how it's one thing to practice it, which he has been. It's another to be comfortable doing that in the game. It's been a much bigger adjustment than I think anyone would have understood going into this, but it kind of makes sense. Like, he hasn't done that throughout his career. You can't just ask a guy to do something completely different, play a different role, find his own little niche in this offense. That's not why you bring in James Harden.
They're going to ask him to shave the beard next, you know?
Carl, if they ask James Harden to shave the beard, what do you think is going to happen?
He's going to put on the fat suit and be out there. He's out of there. He's out of there. This whole mentality, the changing of the mentality, we'll never know what these guys' mentality are. Like, we're not in the locker room. We're not in their minds. We only know what they tell us, so we can never go off of that. Like, Russ knows that he's not who he used to be. He knows that. Trust me, every athlete knows when they're not doing what they used to, even if no matter how bad they want to be doing it, they know what their capabilities are. Also, Paul George says quite often how he doesn't mind playing second fiddle.
We can't have that. That's the last thing you need. And Coach Lou nipped it in the bud earlier today. Paul George is not a glue guy. He's a bad mother effer.
Yeah.
He knows that's what they have to win it all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he meant what I think that was him trying to be diplomatic, and he messed up. Paul George.
Oh, no, I think he really was trying to help by saying, all right, I'll get more boards. I'll play more defense. But it's like, no, you're not the guy who needs to sacrifice. Kawhi's not the guy who needs to sacrifice. It's somebody in the backcourt. Both of them really are going to have to. That's the formula for them winning it all. Getting more out of 2-1-3 and getting back to where they were right before Kawhi tore his ACL.
Yeah, I agree. And what's crazy is I've been so every news publication, sports thing has been talking about how bad the fit is. And they love to crap on us. Like, it's in their contracts. But
gotta shit on the Clippers at least one time per week.
You have to say, even if that, like, we go 0-82 and they're gonna be like, just don't believe it. Fake 0-82.
Wait, 0-82 or 82-0?
I mean 82-0.
I would love a fake 0-82.
They would love 0-82.
Just kidding, guys.
82-0. And but I am now being like, damn, how is this shit gonna keep working? Because
no, I feel that trepidation the same, where it's like, I guess I hope, but
we know a pathway to making this work, something they really haven't tried yet. Like that, the biggest issue may be the thing they haven't tried, which is either bringing James or Russ off the bench.
And then who do you want in the starting lineup?
That simple.
Let's go around the horn. Who do you want in the starting lineup? Let's say one of James or Russ is out of the starting lineup. Who do you want to see in their place? Let's start with Charles.
Okay, that feels unfair, but I'm gonna go.
Let's say Kobe Brown.
Yeah, Kobe Brown at the 1. Get the ball in his hands, winning basketball. No, I'm gonna go. There's what I want and what I think the team wants to try and run. I want to see.
I want to hear your one.
Harden.
I want to hear what you want. Yeah,
I want to see Harden. I'm gonna say Norm strictly for the spacing. Kawhi, PG, Zoo. I could be talked into Terrence instead of Norm, but what we saw for the flashes of it in this game, Harden, Norm, Kawhi, PG, Zoo is some nice spacing. You can hide Norm's defense. I understand the defense isn't super solid with those two there, but I think the offense functions a little better. Whoever's going next, go.
Let's go, Carl. Carl, what do you want for your starting 5?
What I want for my starting 5?
Anything. As crazy as you want. Go.
Zubats is gone.
Current roster only. Current roster only.
But Zoo doesn't have to be in the starting 5. PG and Kawhi don't have to be in the starting 5 if you don't want.
Yeah, it's my starting 5. It's mine.
Sure, it's yours.
You're calling the shots. You're Lawrence Frank and Ty Lue.
You're going for 0-82.
Yeah, I'm going. It's going to sound crazy, but I want Russ, T-Man, PG, Kawhi, Zoo.
That's not crazy. I love that.
And I want that second unit. I want the second unit. I like the pace pushing. I know you don't think pace pushing is necessary, Will. I do think it is in today's game.
I mean, I think easy buckets definitely. I mean, I hear you there. I just think it. You have to choose one or the other. You have to choose a probing, methodical half court offense, or you have to choose to be fast, and that affects what your starting lineup is because it can't be both.
Right. You know what I want to know, and if anybody in the chat can get this, what was the pace in those 16 games in Brooklyn with Harden, with Kyrie, and with KD? I want to know what that pace was. Because honestly,
weren't they not?
I think
they
Harden
all
could play at a faster pace than people realize.
Weren't they not all playing together at the start of Harden's thing?
But I'm saying in the 16 games that they had together.
Yeah. All right, wait.
13-3.
So Adam, who's your starting five?
I want Man in, and I guess for Russ, because that's what I said in June. If they're going to bring in Harden, you make Russ the focal point of the bench unit. Because that's when he's at his best. So how do you get the best out of both these guys? Harden starts, he gets featured more. Russ gets featured more with the second unit. I know it's sacrifice, and Russ has made a lot of them already for this team, I think. It's not easy.
Sure.
But I think if you want this team to win a championship, that is eventually what has to be done.
Well, the issue here, Shark in the Box, James is 10 times better than Russ, and it's not even close. The issue with this is it's the rest of the team. It's fit. It's not about
one-on-one.
It's not one-on-one. Russ is not the offensive player that James is. However, Russ does a lot of the other shit
that the Clippers don't do.
That the Clippers themselves don't do. It's always about the other parts of the team and what we think can work more often than not. That's why a lot of us say Russ over James. James is fucking dope. I'm so happy to have him in a Clippers jersey. I truly am.
And PJ Tucker.
Yeah, and PJ Tucker. That's the Clips jersey I'm getting. I'm getting the City Edition PJ Tucker.
Carl Tart.
I love PJ Tucker. So
before we get to Will's pick for the starting lineup, Carl Tart's Clippers jersey lineup is gonna be historic.
Something to behold.
Something to behold in a couple years. All right, Will, you're starting five.
All right, I'm gonna go a little nuclear here on this.
I don't know.
I want to see James Harden starting point guard. I want to see, I guess, depending on how you split the positions, Paul George at the 2, Terrence Mann at the 3, Kawhi Leonard at the 4, PJ Tucker at the 5. And let me just say, I know that you're giving up on some size. I think the defense is overall better. And I just also think it's, while you only have the 4s that you currently have and you're down a center, this is the only way that you can hide all of PJ Tucker's negatives and still try to use him when he can to pair up defensively with the other team's best scorer, which he can do in stints. That's the thing. He can still be in flashes good defensively. I just think it's the best way to use him. You can't have him playing heavy minutes with the second unit that already sucks at defense. It just doesn't make any damn sense. Zoo can cover a lot of positions. Him being on that second unit makes sense. If you have Russ as the guard on the second unit, having Zoo as a lob threat, I do acknowledge that his hands aren't perfect, but a threat in quotation marks, I think to me that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, and there is a reason why I'm not a coach in the NBA, but this is just what I think.
That is patently absurd.
It's just what I think.
No, I know.
Hey, when they do that Tuesday and beat Denver by 20,
I'm not saying it would work, but it just, in my brain, it makes sense. You can rationalize it, can't you?
I can see the rationality. That's what makes me so sad about this team right now, is that PJ Tucker's so bad that we have to be like, we might as well start him with our best.
I don't think he is.
He has some pluses. I'm not saying that he doesn't have pluses.
I think he has a real utility.
Offensively, he's a 0. I'm sorry.
They shouldn't need him for much offense. If he can hang out,
and they don't in that lineup that I just mentioned. But if you have any other non-shooters around him, it's a nightmare. Put him in the in the lineup with the most shooting.
All right, we should move. I mean, that's not wrong.
He was in the lineup in the 4th when they made that run. They had shooting around him. Somewhat.
Did we get Adam? I think I missed your starting 5. Was it all Zubac?
It's actually Zubac has a brother I'm putting in there too. Like
Pretzel Bro,
the whole family.
No, you put his mom in that lineup. She could play the 5. Zubac could play the 4. His mom is tall as hell. All right, we got to wrap this up. Thank you for everyone hanging on the live. Carl, Can we get some positive? We haven't talked to the curse. I don't know if we should talk to the curse.
It's not the time.
Is it not the time?
I don't want to hear from the curse anymore right now. I'm watching it on the court every damn day.
The curse starting over Zoo right now.
He is. He is. He absolutely is. Well, we don't know if it's a he. They are starting over Zoo.
It's a they, them.
It's the big four and then the curse. Because curses are, of course, we don't know what's going on over there. We're going to do an Updike fun check. This is something we used to do on Locked On Clippers where we're checking everyone's fun level. We're going to start with Will, who this is named after. We're going to do Carl and Adam, then me. How are we feeling, Will? What is your Updike fun check level heading into the NBA Mid-Season Cup Tournament Fiesta against the Denver Nuggets?
There was that carnival ride. If you grew up in a rural area where there's like a bunch of circles and you are inside of it and you flip upside down, basically you're inside of a wheel, essentially.
The zipper.
And I threw up in one and I was scared that it was going to come back and come and fall on me. So I started screaming for the ride to stop. That's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at.
I think that's totally fair. Heading into
I'm worried that my own throw up from watching this is going to fall on me.
Okay. Carl, what is your Updike fun check level before this matchup?
I said at the beginning of the season that this is going to be my like New York Jets style fan base season where it's like, I'm just getting drunk, man. I'm having a good time. I ain't going nowhere. It ain't like I'm not going to be a fan of the team no more.
Oh, absolutely.
It's me and Keyshawn Johnson
arguing.
Arguing.
Yeah.
And that was a great day. I had a great day. And listen, it sucks right now, but there is no doubt in my mind that we will have these four guys on the court and they will not provide us some very fun basketball to watch eventually. Yes. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not at all saying that. I'm just saying right now, it is the dregs of the dregs.
Yeah.
Adam?
I hope the light isn't a train coming our way, as Mike D'Antoni once said for the Lakers. No, I'm having fun. I'm always having fun. Carlo Jimenez has been great. We referenced the flip play from Derek Jeter to get the Oakland A's out back in 2001, 2002 when Marcus Smart was on the floor and somehow got the basketball to that dude that got the layup late in the fourth quarter. I don't know. I'm having fun, and I do think there was progress today. I know a lot of people aren't going to see it because they lost to the Memphis Grizzlies, but that second quarter lineup's meaningful. What they said pregame's meaningful, talking to the entire team, running it through James Harden. That is what has to happen if the best version of this Clippers team is eventually going to happen. It's the only way.
That's fair. I totally agree. I think my level of Updike fun checkness is, I think I'm at the same carnival Will is at. I'm not at the same ride. I just bought my third corn dog, dropped it. Disappointed, but I know that there's another one coming. So I think I'm feeling, I hope, like Daniel said on the stream, I hope that this is the worst of it. Because I'm here. We have to talk about this team and watch them no matter what, because this is who we are fans of.
Yeah.
I'm not pulling out receipts. We
entrust all of our receipt holding to someone else on this.
Adam
podcast.
has all the receipts. But we like what Carl was saying. What else are we going to do? I'm not hoping for their downfall. I'll tell you that much. But they got to be better.
I didn't get a carnival reference. So I'm at the carnival. I'm at the carnival too. My phone's dead.
Ooh.
So I can't use Apple Pay. But luckily I was just in Vegas this past weekend and hit on the crap table for like $1,000. So I just have randomly $1,000 cash on me.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're king of the carnival.
I just have $1,000 cash, which I didn't mean to bring. And some guys are staring at me and they look unsavory.
Sure.
But I feel like they saw me pull a wad out to buy a funnel cake number 4.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that funnel cake, and a girl just walked up to me, and she is like flirting with me. Could be a setup from those guys.
Oh yeah.
And she's bad. She's carnival bad.
She's carnival bad. Like she's carnival bad.
Sketchy.
So Harley Quinn,
Yeah, like a Harley Quinn type just walked up to me and she's hitting on me.
Yeah.
And I got her a funnel cake, but that's when I pulled out the wad of cash.
Yeah.
So
she's holding a big wrench behind her back.
She's holding a big wrench,
see.
and she's gonna beat me over the head with it. But I ain't gonna leave the carnival because I lost my phone's dead. I don't know what rides y'all three are on.
Yeah. All right, Adam, do you want a carnival?
Cars.
Do you want a carnival thing before we send this out?
Daniel said she had carnival.
Also, I want to point out one of my favorite bits from this episode is Adam having a gun, which is now 100% what we're saying.
I have a pellet gun. I don't know. I'm not that dude, but I don't want to talk about it like it's a circus right now. I'm going to try to step away from that. But I understand.
Yes,
I really
and
do.
Adam. Yes, and
Yeah, come on, man.
Like, okay, we're on the bumper cars, and it's rough. And you thought it was going to look good from the outside. It looks really fun when you're watching the bumper cars. That's so fun until you're getting freaking T-bone left and right and put in the grinder. Then it's not fun. Then you're like, I'm paying to have possible whiplash symptoms the rest of my life. Like,
but the Carnival 9 is in the bumper car with you.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
but you can feel the steering wheel. There's a screw loose. Something.
The Carnival 9 was running my carnival ride, and she was like, "You know what? Seems like you're having a rough time, buddy. Why don't we take a little breather?" She leaves the ride running unattended with a bunch of other kids on it.
Children.
Anyways, I think we're getting way off the rails here. We should probably wrap this up.
Yes.
Adam or who wants to end this with some closing words. I will say before we get out of here, this is Clips and Dip, Clippers podcast. You can check us out wherever you listen to your podcast. We're over on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're on Stitcher. We're on Deezer. Wherever you get your podcast, you can listen to the show. Please check us out over on YouTube. That's at Clippers Podcast. We would love it if you would give us a little like and subscribe. You can see things like this great YouTube live. You can also see these over on Twitter. That's at Clippers Pod. Who's going to wrap this thing up?
Carl.
All right.
He's with the 9.
To wrap it up, baby. To wrap it up, I'm not wrapping it up because I'm with the Carnival 9. If y'all see me at the Clipper game, say what's up, dap me up, chunk the deuce. Y'all probably see me with a Carnival 6 at the Clipper game. I'll be wilding with my second.
But
ticket.
that's the best. That's the best night of their life.
Yeah.
It was a 6 to everyone watching, but she was a 9 to you for some reason.
When I was like,
watching her hometown Hornets. All right, we have to get out of here. Thank you to everyone for hanging out. We'll be back with a double dip on Tuesday, probably after whatever happens. Tripod on Wednesday or Thursday. Carl Tart, as always, thank you for being on the show. Shark in the Box, thanks for hanging out on the stream. He said, it's only up from here, right? That's what we're choosing to believe. And as always, let's go Clips.